Hello everybody, Craig Hanson here and welcome to my video, guys. Interesting angle here. We're going to have a look at some of the world's best players and we'll talk about what pivoting or coiling correctly does. We'll have a look at the degrees and angles, especially for some of you guys not getting the compression on the golf ball, or you're blocking it or flipping it. This is a very interesting area. Now we know that PGA Tour average, we've got the right hip 10 degrees higher than the left at the top of the swing, and at impact we've got the left hip 10 degrees higher than the right. Now there are definite advantages in doing this, and we'll talk about that. We can see that Hogan's got around 13 to 14 degrees, the right hip higher than the left at the top, and then we'll see at impact coming in, we'll get this pelvic tilt happening effectively. We see around 13 to 14 degrees, somewhere around there at impact. Interesting looking at the right knee covering the golf ball, the right leg into the low 60 degrees area, and with these iron shots we'll see that a lot with this left leg having this bowed effect to it. Now, advantages of pivoting this way, well guys, there are quite a few. The first initial move is a downwards move, okay, from here. So we start moving the energy, we start moving into this left quad, we start to get some pressure automatically happening into the ground, using the ground as leverage, and that's going to help us get some speed. And once we start loading correctly into this left leg, it prevents too much twisting of the hips, twisting of the feet, and twisting of the torso, which for a lot of you guys getting that high caught feeling with your right arm, that awful feeling, very important. Keeping yourself with your head quite centered, or getting this right hip up higher and pivoting correctly is essential. Let's go through a few more players. Here's Jason Day, who I had the pleasure of walking around with for 18 holes and talking to him about all sorts of things. What a great hitter. Jason obviously has a little bit of times lateral movement with his right hip moving backwards, which he spoke to me about, but it's obviously going to get him up a little bit higher than quite a few of the other players. And you can see that right hip much higher, and we see that initial move moving downwards. We can see that the left leg's still moving downwards here. We can see that left leg starting to get that bowed look to it, and then we start to transfer using the ground and getting the pelvic tilt happening in the opposite direction, starting to move upwards, and we can see that similar numbers as Hogan, and also the similar look of that left leg having that bowed effect with these iron shots. And if you guys get a chance to watch this guy hit some golf balls live, it is definitely very impressive. A look at Stenson. Yeah, I mean, what a hitter of the golf ball this is. What you see a lot of the guys do is when they get about halfway back, they actually start to, a lot of them, not all of them, but you'll see a lot of them start to transfer their weight already over a little bit to this left leg. But we'll get to the top of the swing and we can see that this right hip is about 11 degrees higher. And interesting move. You'll see this with a lot of great players. You'll see a bit of a step across to help them get across. But once the hip sort of loaded like that, it tends to give us a effect that we get a correct amount of lateral movement, because it doesn't stop us spinning. Once the hips are level around 0 degrees, it starts to twist and get our weight moving out right in the right toe, and they get that twisting effect. But you'll see a lot of the guys when they come down, they'll start to lift things up. They'll lift the heel up a lot of the time now, and this is to decelerate the hips. Okay, this is helping the arms collect with the legs at the bottom, stopping players from coming out of it. And they'll do this subconsciously. You'll see a lot of players, a lot of really talented players have been junior champions and world champions, and you'll see them lifting up their heels and digging their toes into the ground almost, and getting there, having this unique ability to decelerate the hips so that the arms can catch up and keep them in the shot. Now you can also see that the the right leg's obviously down, also in that bowing left leg effect. And we've got Peter Lonard here. Peter, one of Australia's hitters of all time, and won the Australian Open several times, Australian Masters, Australian PGA Championship, won on the US PGA Tour. I've been lucky enough to assist Peter the last couple of years, and I'm as I said, one of Australia's straightest ever hitters. And you'll see at the top of the swing here, similar numbers to Ben Hogan, with the right hip higher, and also having that same effect here. You'll see that like Stenson and McIlroy, that little bit of a step over, but once that hip it moves into this position, that'll help your footwork, and you can just see that. I mean, that's starting to look pretty dynamic, isn't it? Really transferring the speed of that club head to the speed of the body. Very powerfully built. You can see the back and the arms. It doesn't look like he's going to have a whole bunch of trouble there, does it? And we'll see it impact. Also, that left leg starting to have that bowed look to it. Another flushed drive down the middle. If you ever get a chance to watch this guy hit some golf balls, it's very, very impressive. Now, as we have a look here, I've got a young player. This is the first time that I taught him, and yeah, he's suffering from block shots and flip shots, which is confusing for a lot of people when they hit the ball way out to the right and then hit a pull snipe to the left. It isn't. People are unsure where it comes from, but what you'll see a lot is, looking at it, you'll see a very level type of pivot here. Around almost at 0 degrees, and what this promotes is more of a twisting effect. We can see that the torso, the rib cage, the hips now twisting. A lot of people, especially that have started golf at an early age, will have this effect. And once you clean up your pivot, a lot of this gets rid of it's finding the point of failure, isn't it? Once we get something positive into the action, a couple of the other things seem to disappear, and it sets off a positive chain reaction on the whole entire movement. We can see that the weight is often transferred straight out into the toe, and if we just compare this one to Mr. Lonard, we'll just see a completely different pivot, with this one moving more laterally because of this fantastic effect here. And I'll just have a look at that. You can see that the torso, and you can see this one here, the torso very quiet, and you can see this one here very aggressive in that area. And then of course you'll see here that when we're getting down into the impact area, we see that the left leg's very, very straight. We don't have any lateral movement there really, and we don't have any of that, a little bit of a bowed effect with the leg. And we also see the right arm is quite high here and a bit jammed up, where we don't have perhaps as the room here. And we see that a lot with people blocking the golf ball. You'll see this look here where it's jammed up and caught up, and that high right arm feeling. So very, very interesting, guys, looking at this pivot. Obviously there's people are always looking at the front view or just the back view. They're not really understanding sometimes the area of their swing that's breaking down. So guys, get onto the website. I'm training people online from all around the world, and you can send your swing through to me, and we'll get you on the right track. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.